Hello, everyone. Welcome to People Now. Sad news this afternoon. Watch this.
Anthony was found dead this morning in his hotel room in France. He had hung himself in his hotel room. According to CNN, he was on a shoot for an upcoming season of his acclaimed series, Parts Unknown. Of course, Anthony's been with us here at CNN for 5 years, a beloved member of the CNN family, and really one of the faces of this network. He helped change CNN when he took a risk coming here in 2013.
That's CNN's Brian Stelter confirming the death of Anthony Bourdain. The celebrated American chef and best-selling author died of an apparent suicide Friday morning, the network alleging that he was found hanging in his French hotel room by close friend and French chef Eric Ripert.
Yeah, the pair was in France filming an upcoming episode of Bourdain's award-winning show Parts Unknown. The public prosecutor's office in Colmar, a town in northeastern France, tells people Bourdain died by hanging at a luxury hotel in Kaysersberg called Les Chambers, adding, "At this stage, nothing suggests the intervention of a third party."
CNN released the following statement saying, quote, "It is with extraordinary sadness we can confirm the death of our friend and colleague Anthony Bourdain. His love of great adventure, new friends, fine food and drink, and the remarkable stories of the world made him a unique storyteller. His talents never cease to amaze us, and we will miss him very much. Our thoughts and prayers are with his daughter and family at this incredibly difficult time."
A Strasbourg police spokesperson confirmed Bourdain's death to People, but would not verify the cause of death. Again, the manner of death has been classified as a suicide.
And the U.S. Embassy in Paris provided the following statement to People, writing in part, "We extend our sincere condolences to friends and family. We stand ready to provide appropriate consular service, and out of respect for the family at this difficult time, we have no further comment."
Celebrities and friends of Bourdain obviously heartbroken over the news.
Yeah, Bourdain's girlfriend, Asia Argento, just posted on social media saying this. She posted a statement for him. We have that, I believe. It says, "Anthony gave all of himself in everything that he did. His brilliant, fearless spirit touched and inspired so many, and his generosity knew no bounds. He was my love, my rock, my protector. I am beyond devastated. My thoughts are with his family. I would ask that you respect their privacy and mine."
Yeah, and we have a statement from Eric Ripert, who was in an Instagram photo with Anthony yesterday. He says, quote, "Anthony was a dear friend. He was an exceptional human being, so inspiring and generous. One of the great storytellers of our time who connected with so many. I wish him peace. My love and prayers are with his family, friends, and loved ones."
Rose McGowan posted this emotional video on Friday morning. Take a look.
To those considering suicide, please don't. Please call for help, because it's a permanent solution to a temporary problem. It's not forever, and the world will not be better off without you. Oh, Asia Argento, you've been through so much. Anthony, why?
Gut-wrenching video there. Rose McGowan has been close to Bourdain and his girlfriend Asia Argento for many years.
Yeah, back in November, the celebrity chef cooked for Asia, Rose, and actress Annabella Sciorra following the Harvey Weinstein scandal.
Yeah, Bourdain, who was extremely outspoken against Weinstein after Argento, McGowan, and many others accused him of rape and sexual assault, shared this photo of the evening, writing, "It was an honor to cook for this meeting of the minds."
Yeah, other celebrities reacting to Bourdain's death. Here's a tweet from fellow celebrity chef Gordon Ramsay.
Let's take a look there. He says, "Stunned and saddened by the loss of Anthony Bourdain, he brought the world into our homes and inspired so many people to explore cultures and cities through their food." And then, of course, that line there, remember that the help's always a call away, 1-800-273-TALK. More celebrities as well. Chrissy Teigen there, "Anthony, one of my idols, unapologetic, passionate, one of the best storytellers on the planet. Thank you for making food so exciting and always standing up for everything right, horrible, why?" Chrissy Teigen among other celebrities that we have as well. Another one of their, hers is why, be at peace now. Ryan Seacrest also posting.
He says, "We have lost one of the greatest storytellers in the world, Anthony Bourdain. He took us around the world sharing food culture and mostly the connection between people. He will be missed."
All right, so we'll have more tweets as they come in. This is a developing story, guys. We'll be bringing you more information and reactions throughout the show today as well.
And again, if you or someone you know is considering suicide, please contact the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 1-800-273-TALK.
Well, guys, moving on to this, People Associate Editor Anna Calderon went on the road with Anthony Bourdain back in February, and now in light of Bourdain's suicide, parts of that interview ring particularly striking, almost eerie in some ways. Anna joins us now. Thank you for being here. It's good to see you.
Thanks, guys, for having me.
Yeah, one thing he told told you was, quote, "I would rather die in the saddle than retire." Obviously not something that would really stand out at the time, but shocking to hear that in light of his suicide. Also gives some insight into how much he loved his work. Did you get a sense of that when you were traveling with him?
Totally, he loved Parts Unknown. The people that he worked with for many, many years, they did 11 seasons. They were like his family because he was on the road 250 days a year.
Yeah.
They just were so connected to each
Yeah, and Anthony, he talked also to you about feeling some responsibility to, as he put it, at least try to live since his daughter Ariane was born 11 years ago. Here's some of what he said. Here's the quote. He says, "I also do feel I have things to live for. There have been times, honestly, in my life that I figured I've had a good run. Why not just do this stupid thing, this selfish thing, jump off a cliff into water of indeterminate depth? This is something I've done on the show. Go to places that I was frankly asking for trouble. It was a daredevil move. In retrospect, I don't know that I would do that today, now that I'm a dad, or reasonably happy." So, and I mean, hearing those words now, it makes it even more shocking. He really seemed to have hope as a dad, didn't he?
Totally. He had an 11-year-old daughter. He really loved her, and he made time for her. He would go in between shoots. He would never shoot 2 cities back to back. He always made time to go back to New York, be with his daughter. He really loved her, and I think that makes this even more devastating.
Yeah, it definitely does.
Yeah, you also asked him if he would describe himself as happy. How did he respond to that?
He said, yes, at this point in his life, he's happy. He met someone, Asia Argento, who's a strong person. They had so much in common, and I think he really was happy with it.
It was interesting, too, that quote from your interview with him, that he said that he was happy in ways that he says, I didn't think I would be, or that he ever remembered being, as though he was happier than ever.
Yes. He
Yeah.
definitely was. And he had a lot of demons in his life. He struggled with addiction. But I think at this point in his life, at least in February, he was happy with Asia and his family.
You also asked him about his past with drugs. He said this. Here's part of the quote. "I don't know. It's weird. I was a heroin addict for sure, and I was a cocaine addict for sure." He went on to say that he never stopped drinking alcohol, but that it was under control. It seems that his addictions were in the past, but he'd also alluded to this sense of looming darkness. How did that haunt him, or did it seem apparent to you?
I think he was very in tune to his addictions, and he drank a lot actually on our shoot together. He drank on the show. He was very open about how that wasn't an addiction for him, but I think someone struggling with addiction always has demons, and he was open about that, and I think that was really something that should be praised.
Yeah.
Yeah, last thing, looking back on your interview and the time you spent with him, what will you remember most about Anthony Bourdain?
I think that he was just so grateful for his fans. When we were together, he never turned away a selfie, an autograph. It was like constant, people who came up to him just admiring him, and he was always appreciative of that.
And really special memories that you now have, and thank you for sharing that insight with us, Anna Calderon. Guys, People.com will have ongoing updates on the death of Anthony Bourdain as more details become available.
Yeah,
Thanks for being here.
Thank you. And here's a moment from the famed chef's Emmy award-winning show, Parts Unknown. Take a look.
Fellow travelers, this is what you want. This is what you need. This is the path to true happiness and wisdom.
Anthony Bourdain was best known for his hit CNN show Parts Unknown, where he traveled around the world sampling local cuisine.
Yeah, but he was also known as one of the most honest and outspoken voices in the food scene.
Yeah, began his career working in seafood restaurants in Provincetown, Massachusetts, which was said to have sparked his decision to pursue a career in cooking.
Yeah, from there, he studied at the Culinary Institute of America, where he graduated in 1978.
He had a long career working in New York City restaurants and kitchens as well.
Yeah, after rising the ranks in the New York City food world, Bourdain was pushed into his next chapter after writing an article for The New Yorker titled "Don't Eat Before Reading This."
The piece pulled back the curtain on the culinary world, showing just how wild and scandalous life inside the kitchen could be.
Yeah, a best-selling book followed and then sparked Bourdain's first television show titled A Cook's Tour.
The show, which premiered in January 2002 on the Food Network, launched Bourdain's now famous TV formula, where he traveled to exotic countries and cities in the search of unique local food.
Yeah, and he eventually moved to the Travel Channel for his show Anthony Bourdain No Reservations.
And then, of course, in 2013, Anthony Bourdain Parts Unknown premiered.
Yeah, and his TV career earned him 5 Emmy Awards, most recently in 2016 for Outstanding Informational Series or Special.
Yeah, and as we've heard from celebrities, from other chefs, he leaves such a unique and distinct mark on the culinary world, and his reach is so broad, so many fans, way beyond the world of the culinary world.
And a lot of people look at his career, and he has this amazing job and everything. You never really know what someone is going through. I think that's a really important thing to to remember as
Drives
well.
that home for sure. Anthony Bourdain was never shy about discussing those demons that he faced in life.
Yeah, though he was a rising star of the New York City culinary scene in the 1980s, Bourdain was in debt, had no health insurance, and couldn't pay his taxes or rent.
Yeah, he burned out and fell hard into the city's rampant drug culture. He became addicted to cocaine and heroin, but also experimented with Quaaludes, LSD, mushrooms, speed, and even more.
Yeah, 5 years of methadone treatment helped him kick heroin in the late 80s. But only a few years later, Bourdain relapsed into a crack cocaine addiction.
He told The Guardian in 2017 that through his drug addiction, he had, quote, hurt, disappointed, and offended many, many, many people. He said, I regret it a lot. It's a shame that I have to live with.
Yeah, and though he didn't consider it an addiction, he says drinking also became a problem while he worked in the restaurant industry.
Yeah, he told People he was definitely drinking too much because alcohol was always around. People were even willing to give it to him for free. He said it helped with the tremendous stress of working in that industry.
Now, eventually, he says he reached a breaking point, recalling to Forbes that he looked into the mirror one day and didn't like what he saw. He added, quote, I was ashamed of myself, and there were still things I wanted to do with my life.
In 1998, he made a comeback as chef of Manhattan's Brasserie Leal and began writing about his experiences. The former bad boy of the culinary world documented those wild years of sex, drugs, and haute cuisine in his 2000 memoir, Kitchen Confidential.
Yeah, now the book became a smash hit, and after that, writing became a form of therapy for Bourdain, keeping him busy and focused.
Bourdain spoke about his love of writing to GQ in 2017. He said this, he said, I'm a restless person. Free time is my enemy. I need to stay busy. That's just the nature of my demons.
Yeah, on top of that, he told People he believed he had an addictive personality that reached beyond drugs or alcohol. Even if it was a certain movie or book or author, if it caught his attention, he would really intensely pursue it.
By 2016, Bourdain broke his life down like this. He said, I should have died in my 20s. I became successful in my 40s. I became a dad in my 50s. I feel like I've stolen a car, a really nice car, and I keep looking in the rearview mirror for flashing lights.
Yeah, while he did admit to having moments of feeling like, quote, I've had a good run, why not just do this stupid thing, this selfish thing, Bourdain always said one major influence for him to stay clean and to, quote, try to live was his daughter, Ariane, who is now 11 years old.
In 2010, he told People, quote, all the cliches are true. Being a parent changes everything. He went on to add, I never want her to be embarrassed by me. Daddy may have done bad things in his life, but she will never see that side of me. Yeah. So heartbreaking to hear those quotes and to think about how life will now be for his daughter as she moves forward. Now, guys, stay with us. We have even more reactions following the tragic death of Anthony Bourdain. Plus, Extra Crispy editor Kat Kinsman joins us live to share her memories of the famed chef, including her advice for anyone struggling with mental illness.
Well, Anthony Bourdain's death, obviously a shock to many. We have more reactions on social media. People are tweeting about this.
Our feed, we're kind of flooded there. Barack Obama says, low plastic stool, cheap but delicious noodles, cold Hanoi beer. This is how I'll remember Tony. He taught us about food, but more importantly, about its ability to bring us together, to make us a little less afraid of the unknown. We will miss him.
Yeah, and Pat Oswalt saying, saying the National Suicide Hotline for anyone that is considering. And I've brushed up against this darkness, and I know it's a tempting exit, but reach out to anyone. Stay on this side of it in the light and warmth where you get to try again every day.
Pat Oswalt, obviously someone who can speak to those types of things. And here we go, Questlove. Just saw the news this morning about Anthony Bourdain's passing. So many thoughts about him, memories, emotions, unanswered questions. Right now, I'm sort of a jumble. So thankful for him to introduce me to a world I never knew, the world of food, and especially food around the world. So yeah, and just the heart-wrenching sort of confessions of how this man impacted so many people.
Yeah, and Josh Gad also shared this photo with him. No, I just can't begin to understand this. Goodbye to another great gone far too soon. Please, please, please remember that if you are or anyone you know is struggling and needs help, you're not alone. Reach out for help at the National Suicide Prevention Hotline at 1-800.
Yeah, there we go. This man, Anthony Bourdain, was a giant in his field, introduced many of us who were not into the culinary arts to the joys and pain of the kitchen. Both worked in New York City clubs back in the day. One of the final guests on his first show, No Reservations. So again, just these very personal stories that people continue to share about Anthony Bourdain and the impact that he had on them.
Yeah. All right, now we're taking a look back on how Anthony's life changed after Kitchen Confidential and how much of an impact food had on his life.
Certainly it's a coming to terms with how my life has changed in the 10 years since Kitchen Confidential, which is to say completely changed. I went from a guy, broke, had been broke, never insured, never owned anything, perpetually in debt, hardworking guy to overnight the guy with the best job in the world, with the freedom to travel around the world doing anything he wants and get paid for it.
I was cooking through my cooking career, chef career started in the 70s. And proceeded up until 2001.
In my worldview, food certainly plays a role, hopefully, in bringing some kind of enlightenment and understanding and openness and appreciation of other cultures. I spend much of my life in the Muslim world, where I've been treated with overwhelming kindness and generosity.
And guys, we are continuing to talk about the death of Anthony Bourdain, and joining us now is Kat Kinsman, the author of High Anxiety, Life with a Bad Case of Nerves, and she runs the website Chefs with Issues.
Yeah, how are you doing?
It's a bad day today.
Bad day today. I want to read what you posted on Twitter a couple of hours ago. You wrote, I knew Anthony Bourdain, not well, but in some weird, kind ways, and I'm gutted. Please, please be kind to yourself and one another. Restaurant folks, Chef with Issues is here to support you if you need it. What was your reaction when you found out the news today?
I was devastated, as everybody in the food world is. He was a larger-than-life personality, but who also could be very personal with people. I think I've heard from so many. I talk to chefs all the time, and they all say, I want to be Anthony Bourdain. How do I be Anthony Bourdain?
Wow.
I want his life. It seems perfect, but if there's anything that we have learned this week, it's that surface appearances aren't necessarily indicative of what's going on.
Yeah, tell me how you knew him, how you interacted with him, what was the connection? I hear this is kind of an interesting story.
We got in a fight, actually. He had written something that I was sort of angry about the James Beard House. I was working at CNN at the time and running the food blog there, and wrote back something that he wasn't very happy about.
This is like a Twitter war.
He called me out on Twitter, and we got into it. And I remember getting a call from CNN Publicity saying, you must stop, because they were in negotiations with him for Parts Unknown, and we didn't know that yet. And we have so many friends in common who said, y'all don't know this yet, but you are on the same side. And we became friends out of that.
Wow.
So you kind of resolved it.
Oh, we did, in a big, big way. And he wrote things for me at CNN, and he was just very supportive of my mission and my work, and we would check in from time to time.
Yeah, for people who aren't familiar with your website, Chefs with Issues, it's a place where people in the food industry can come and talk about things they're dealing with. You've been very open about your anxiety and everything.
Yes.
What are some of the things that people in the food industry deal with that maybe people like us aren't aware of?
Behind the scenes, I mean, the whole profession is about taking care of other people and being generous and happy out front. In the back, people are dealing with stress like most people do not deal with. It's physically really brutal. People have no money, they don't have insurance, and it's a lot of people with predilections toward addiction come and work in the industry. It's really a fantastic field for a lot of people in a lot of ways who they don't fit into normal 9-to-5 desk jobs. And they find their family and their community. Bourdain always championed the pirate ship. So people who maybe had been to prison or had some sort of untraditional background could find their family and community in the kitchen. And the problem is when the shift stops, what do you do? And that's what we run into.
Some bad
lot.
behavior.
And also late hours too, as well.
Yeah, the routines and the things can sort of lend themselves to those types of things. Have you found that your peers in the industry are becoming more willing to talk as openly as you have, or is that what's your take on that?
It's changed so much. I've been doing the project for about 2.5 years, and the conversation has changed so radically. People are very open to. I speak at a lot of festivals. They let me have the stage for this, and the amount of people who stand up and say, this is going on in my life as well. It's a very macho business in a lot of ways. You're supposed to just shut up and cook. Is the thing that people quote very often. And don't be a weakling. Much harder language than that. People are starting to say, hey, now I'm a big, rough, tough chef, and I feel it too. Food and Wine has been really fantastic about having this first-person essay series on there. We published one last Friday from a chef who was saying, what do you do with those hours? He called it the empty hour. What do you do in those hours between the rush of service? And then everybody in your life who would usually be a balance is asleep. What do you do with your mind during that time when you could go out and get a drink? You could go and do other things. What is the better decision to make? Those conversations are happening.
It's an important thing, important conversation.
I think it's very important because people are still afraid to talk about mental health. And that's why I think your website's really amazing. It's a place where people will feel safe to talk about those things. You know, now that you've opened up about your history with anxiety, what's the message that you want people to have?
It's okay to talk about it. You don't have to be ashamed about this. Maybe the people around you aren't necessarily going to take the news of it so well, but really, there's nothing you're not a broken person. It's something new that they know about you. We need a better language to talk
surrounding
about
it,
this.
yeah.
We absolutely do. And I always tell people, cooks and stuff, what's the worst thing that can happen? Your line cook cries in front of you? Like, that's honestly, I'm sorry to be dire here, but that's better than going to their funeral.
Right.
You have to talk about it.
Yeah, getting the message out. Finally, as someone who knew him, what do you hope that people remember most about Anthony Bourdain?
He cared so damn much about people, about places, about food, bringing us all together. And I hope they remember his capacity for enjoyment.
Yeah, look at that.
Hopefully so. Yeah,
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
And guys, again, if you want more info, you can check out chefswithissues.com.
All right, guys, we have some more social media reactions coming in for Anthony Bourdain. People are tweeting about him, people that miss him and love him. This is from Andrew Zimmern, another chef. He says, I'm wearing your boots that I never wore because they were yours and going to work. Everyone should hug some extra people today. My heart is heavy.
All right, and Leah Michelle, another heartbreaking loss. You are and will always be one of my idols, Anthony Bourdain. Watching your show always brought me such happiness. Thoughts and prayers are with you and your family now.
And Megan Kelly says, incredibly sad news about Anthony Bourdain, sending such love to his family, including his CNN family, who must be hurting terribly today. If you or someone you know is thinking of suicide, and she also puts the national suicide.
Yeah. Anthony from Queer Eye, I'm shocked and deeply saddened. Rest in peace to a father, partner, chef, writer, incredibly talented man. Prayers for his loved ones.
Yeah, and Brian Cranston, according to AFSP, there are nearly 45,000 suicides every year in the U.S. Shocking. I was saddened to hear about the deaths of Kate Spade and Anthony Bourdain. Rest in peace. It illustrates that success is not immune to depression. We all need to be more aware of our friends who are suffering.
And that's one of those things that we've heard people talking about throughout, this whole week, from the Kate Spade apparent suicide to now this apparent suicide of Anthony Bourdain, that you just don't know what anyone's going through. And you think you know someone, or at least you see someone that has success, money, all the things that we think of as the keys to being happy, and maybe they're in some of the darkest pain ever. All right, guys, another reminder about this. If you or someone you know is considering suicide, please contact the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline, 1-800-273-TALK.
Yeah, it's obviously been a hard day today, but thank you so much for watching, everyone, and have a good weekend. We will see you next week.
Bye, guys.